Hey guys, let's do a pet pairing slash chatty get ready with me. It's going to be probably a long video. I'm warning you, it's going to be super chaotic. I probably won't remember to tell you all the products that I am using. I'm definitely going to show you the palettes that we're pairing, of course, but further than that, if you have any questions about any of the rest of the makeup that's on my face, please let me know, because I don't want to like break my string of thoughts too often. So, the thing I want to chat with you about today is, of course, the announcement for the newest installment in the Mothership series, the Mothership 9 Huetopian Dream Artistry palette. Where to even begin? Well, let's start from the beginning. First of all, this is the absolute longest tease she has ever done for a Mothership palette. Usually when she starts teasing like a week in advance, and she starts posting those inspo images, and prior to that you will see an inspo image every now and then popping on her feed, but it won't be like, I'm teasing something and I'm going to make you wait for it, bitches. This time it was exactly like that. She's been teasing us since, I want to say, sometime in mid-June, and it's already like a month later. But okay, she's been teasing and teasing and teasing, and honestly, by what she was teasing, I was 99.9% sure that a new Mothership is coming, also because we're kind of due for a new Mothership. It's been like over a year since Divine Rose 2, so I didn't really think it would be anything else. Over the course of like the last few weeks, the tease images were becoming more and more confusing, personally, to me, because I was like, I have no idea what to expect of what she's posting as inspo images. Like, based on what she's posting, it looks like someone on her team or she herself is like on an LSD trip. It really looked like that. By the way, I am going to take now one of my new fusion brushes, new, old, whatever you want to call it, because I just want to quickly show you. So this is my mini base from the Keyaki set. This is my new full-size mini base. They are pretty much the exact same brush. There's really no difference between the two. Yesterday I did already use my classic base and it felt exactly like the mini base, but in a somewhat bigger size. So the images were becoming more and more confusing, in the sense that I don't know whether I had set expectations for what the next Mothership is going to be, but when she started teasing, I certainly wasn't expecting that sort of like pastel kawaii type of vibe that were images that her inspo images were starting to give me. And I was like, I really have no idea what to expect, you know. And then the last few inspo images she posted right before the actual announcement had like rainbows on them and unicorns and shit, and I was like, are we getting a pastel palette? And I want to throw in, like, obviously this is going to be just my personal thoughts, so take it as you want, but when I saw her posting those like heavily pastel inspired images, I started to get slightly worried. Okay, slightly worried, because personally I am not about pastels. I don't like pastels because usually they have a very strong white base. They can look quite ashy and unflattering, and if I'm being honest, on the regular I don't really use pastels in my day-to-day much. So I was a bit worried, but at the same time I was thinking, come on, it's Pat McGrath. Even if it's pastels, it's going to be, you know, more sophisticated, more grown-up type pastels. There is no difference between this and the mini base, just in case you were curious. Before I proceed with my thoughts, this is the classic base, this is the mini base. They are, like I said, the exact same brush, only the classic base has a bigger head to it. So there's more like surface area for you to buff your foundation. It's going to be my favorite foundation brush without a doubt. Like I said, I do have two of them. This one will remain packed and in pristine condition because it is heading to my friend Bia. Anyway. So I was getting a little bit worried because I am not a pastel person. Like, I don't want a pastel lavender and a pastel blue and a pastel green from Pat, because I'm never fucking going to wear them. And knowing Pat McGrath's customer base, like 5% of her customer base might actually wear this every now and then. The rest will not buy a Pat McGrath palette to wear pastels. They are probably buying indie eyeshadows and they probably already have pastels in their collection. But like I said, because it's Pat McGrath, I was like, what the hell is she getting at with those pastels and those like light blue, lavender inspired images? Once again, there was heavy leaning pink inspiration, and I was like, I hope it's not a Divine Rose 3. I don't think it will be a Divine Rose 3, but I don't think it will be completely pink free, let's put it that way, because based on the inspo images it really didn't seem like it. Yesterday, no, the day before, she finally revealed, well, she didn't reveal it, but those of us who spy with their little eye were already able to like read out from the little teaser video that the name of the new palette is going to be Mothership 9, Huetopian Dream. Thank goodness, no Divine Rose in the name. And when I saw the name Huetopian Dream, I was like, this combination of pastels and the name of this palette is starting to make me think that we are possibly getting some sort of an extension to the Fleur Fantasia quad. Hear me out. The Fleur Fantasia quad was again very pastel leaning, and on top of that it contains a shade which is called Huetopia. So I thought maybe we're getting a mothership which is somehow inspired by Fleur Fantasia or an extension of Fleur Fantasia. So I thought possibly we're getting more of those like lavendery, purpley, bluey kind of tone. So in my head I actually did think we might be getting something like a very sparkly, light baby blue, something of the sorts. And then, you know, a lavender purple, because she's been teasing like that lavender purple in a lot of her inspo images. I did think there would be something in the range of like pink and like more pastel leaning, but further than that I didn't really know what to expect. Unfortunately, there was only one image where there were like green tones, so I didn't really think there would be much green representation in the palette. And surprise, surprise, there isn't. So the day before, so today is Tuesday, and then I think on Sunday, she said that she would reveal everything the day after, so that is yesterday, Monday. And given her usual schedule, I thought we will already get glimpse of the palette around 6 in the afternoon local time. I don't know what time she releases that for you guys in the US, but for us it's usually around 6 o'clock local time. So around 6 o'clock I was impatiently awaiting to see the reveal, because I wanted to have a bit of time for the thought to sink in before I go out, because I had a date with one of my besties. We had dinner and we wanted to go watch In the Heights in the cinema, because it was the last day they were going to show it in the cinema. And then at 7 o'clock Mama Pat posts another image, this time of basically the image of what the outer packaging of the new palette is going to look like. But she did not reveal the contents of the palette, and she said that the contents of the palette would be revealed at such and such time at the later point. And I was like, okay, this is either going to be like in the middle of the night for me, or it's going to be in the evening when I'm in the cinema, so fuck it. I'm not going to be able to truly like dig into the color story and like put my thoughts together today. It's going to have to be tomorrow. So yesterday around 10:30, luckily, or like coincidentally, we had like in the Netherlands they have pauses during the movie, so halfway through the movie you're going to get a little break to go to the bathroom or to pick up a snack. More to pick up a snack, let's be honest, they're capitalists. So there was a break around 10:30 and I already saw the inside of the palette, and I already chatted with a couple of you, and I didn't really have much time to think about it. My first reaction was, I don't know if that's what I expected to see in terms of the colors in this palette, but at the same time I do think it's a little bit what I expected. To me, the color story of this palette is again quite a summery, quite a spring color story, so I'm surprised we didn't get this palette earlier on in the year, because to me it's more of like a spring and summer palette. And it is, within the brand of Pat McGrath, a bit more of a pastel color story. I'm going to get on to the eyes now, so I will tell you shortly what we're going to do in terms of eyeshadow, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm going to grab the Metamorphosis 6-pan. I'm going to use these two shades to transition and deepen my outer corners. So now that I've had some time to look at the palette, I personally, Pat could put 10 black matte eyeshadows in her palette and I'd still fucking buy it, because, you know, she could sell me garbage and I would still buy it. So I think it's an unnecessary disclaimer, but let me put it just in case. I hate the word stan, I am a very loyal Pat fan. I don't buy that many other eyeshadow palettes anymore. This year I've only bought her 2 quads. I haven't bought another eyeshadow palette at all. And I know, because I have bought all of her mothership, I have most of her eyeshadow palettes. There are very few that miss in my collection. Because I know her eyeshadow palettes, because I use and have experienced and explored and experimented so much with her eyeshadows, that I know that when she starts teasing those images and swatches in that stupid lighting of hers, they don't tell the whole story. Usually when I see the images of her eyeshadow palettes, I am 10% underwhelmed and 90% curious, because I know that when I hold it in my hands it's going to look completely different. I know that a lot of the eyeshadows that look flat, boring and nothing special in her images are going to look beautiful, dimensional, sparkly and undescribable on the eyelids. So I know by now to not really base much of my opinions on the release just on the promo images, because the promo images never tell the whole story. Once people start actually releasing their videos, actually live swatching the eyeshadows, putting them on their eyes, that is when you're truly going to be able to see what this color story is like. I want to mention the part of the palette that I find a little bit disappointing, or not disappointing, but I'm a little bit concerned about. I will put an image of the eyeshadow palette somewhere on the screen, but like the whole left corner of the palette, the one which has like the skin show shade and the matte shade, like the matte pinky looking shade, that corner looks so much like the Divine Rose 1 and Divine Rose 2 palettes that I'm like, okay, I hope that in real life they are different shades and they have a different vibe to them, because I'm really tired of these types of shades. I will say this, I am tired of like the pink leaning rose inspired colors. I'm ready to move on into another color family. I'm not disappointed by the palette. I think a lot of people were disappointed by the reveal of the palette, because based on the rainbows and unicorns images, I think they were expecting a similar color story. To those people I want to say, did you really expect a light pastel color story from Pat McGrath? I don't think that's her target audience. I don't think that's what the people who enjoy her brand are going to wear, so let's be realistic. If she's going to release pastel colors or some sort of a color story inspired by rainbows and unicorns, it's not going to be a literal iteration of those colors, it's going to be something inspired by those colors. I think we should all be really happy because she did answer our hopes and dreams for another multi-chrome shade. We're getting another multi-chrome at the same spot in the palette where VR's Extraterrestrial is in the Divine Rose 2 palette, and this multi-chrome also looks really, really beautiful. And to those of you who have like a bunch of multi-chromes and, I don't know, Cleona and Divina and whatever, you've seen this eyeshadow before because the multi-chrome pigments are all the same. It's all about the formula. Personally, I already stated in my Divine Rose 2 video and in subsequent videos that I far prefer the formula of the multi-chrome from Pat, because I just think it's so easy to work with. It's such a beautiful, user-friendly formula, like a no-brainer. You can just slap it on your lids and call it a day. And I don't always find that to be the case with indie eyeshadows. I find a lot of them to have a very dark base, which prevents them from not blending into a muddy mess when you want to use them as a one and done shade. I think we will have to see the palette IRL to really judge. With that said, I'm pretty sure those colors are going to be similar to stuff we already have. But yesterday when I was laying in bed and thinking about what kind of mattes I would really like to see from Pat, you know what, the matter of fact and the truth is that I want my basic bitch like browns and peaches and light camel shades, because those are the shades that I usually use in my day-to-day life. I'm not going to use a pastel lilac and a pastel blue. That's just the way it's going to be. So I'm not mad that we're getting more neutrally type mattes, because those are the ones that I would personally get the most use out of. Now I'm going to take the, well, before I take the next eyeshadow palette, I'm quickly going to apply my Pixie Boxy from Firini, and here I'm going to throw in the second product that's coming in this release is some sort of a pen which claims to be this kind of product, so like a glitter glue type of product, but then in a pen form. there is a very high chance that I am going to purchase this to compare with my Pixie Epoxy because I am very curious about it. Anyway, let me tell you what I'm doing next, which is grabbing my Dark Star 6 pan, and I'm going to take this gold shade over here to put all over my lids. It's not a very groundbreaking look, you guys. I'm just going to pop it on like this. It's a gorgeous, like, very bronzy gold, and I think it fits my dress really well. Speaking of gold, yes, we are getting another gold in the palette, but it looks like a very interesting gold, and I'm certainly intrigued by it. I'm of course very intrigued by the multichrome. I'm sure it will be glorious. There is a beautiful, like, lilac blue looking duochrome shade in the corner with the like Blitz VR and Astral shades, so I'm very curious to see that in real life. I'm sure that they will be absolutely beautiful in real life. So what I wanted to say about the color story, I do think that if you look at it as an extension of the Fleur Fantasia quad, it is actually very much an extension of that quad, because we're getting this like brighter coral matte shade. We're getting like this lavender blue duochrome. There are a couple of other shades which have a bit more of a pastel vibe to them in the palette, but we are also getting some like deep and richer tones, which is honestly what I was hoping for. I'm going to take the 6 pan again and use this shade as my inner corner highlight. I don't remember whether it works well as an inner corner highlight, but we're going to see. So overall, I do understand the disappointment from people who were expecting a rainbow palette, but at the same time I want to laugh in your face, because did you really expect Pat McGrath to release a rainbow palette? Come on, be serious. Now for the sort of like finishing part of the look, I'm going to take the Ultraviolet Blue Pressed Pigment from Pat, and I'm going to apply a tiny bit of Duraline here in one of the corners of the eyeshadow. I'm going to apply it as an eyeliner on my lids to match up again with my dress. Okay, the eyeliner is done. I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret my choice tomorrow because this eyeshadow stains like a motherfucker, so this is going to be pink tomorrow. But for now it looks really cool. I'm going to keep my lower lash line quite simple because I don't want to take away too much from that gorgeous blue eyeliner, so I'm going to take the deep brown shade again to apply here on my lower lash line. So with that, I wanted to sort of conclude my rambling and ask what you guys think about it. Were you super disappointed, or do you think that this eyeshadow palette pretty much fits the bill when it comes to Pat McGrath's brand? I think it's very much on brand for her, to be honest. I don't expect her to do anything different than that, because I think her brand is more targeted to, you know, fun yet sophisticated, grown-up colors. I'm going to quickly pop on this Kiko eyeshadow stick in the number 04 in my waterline, just to match up with the brown on my lower lashes. To conclude, I will of course be buying the new Huetopian Dream Artistry palette from Pat McGrath. I will let you know as soon as I have it in my hands what it's like, and does it really justify all of our expectations. I want to throw in, just so you don't think I'm a blindless Pat stan who doesn't have any mind and opinion of their own, I really enjoy her eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to buy this one, I'm definitely going to enjoy it. But with that said, I'm still hoping for an eyeshadow palette that is a little bit outside of the tones that she's been giving us in the past 1.5 years.
Like, share, subscribe, and hit that, smash that like button.
Where was I before Hubs rudely interrupted me? I think I was talking about the fact that I could move on from the pink and like peach tones that we've been getting a lot in the past few years. It would be very exciting to get like a more cool toned palette, something like the Natasha Denona Glam palette but with other tones in it. If you ask me, like taupes and cool toned greens would pair so beautifully in a palette together. If we would get Pat's take on it, it would look absolutely mesmerizing, amazing and stunning, and I want to own it. So if Pat could please make that palette come true, that would be great. But in the meantime, I'm satisfied with whatever she makes, because I know I will not be disappointed. People tend to hold her brand to a very high standard. I feel like she gets very criticized for doing what she usually does, and I don't really understand why, because I always feel like, well, if you don't like the color story, or if it's too repetitive for your collection of Pat McGrath eyeshadows, then just don't fucking buy it. Why do you have to complain about it so much?
Help.
Jesus Mina!
I ruined your message.
You did.
There goes the income.
What was I saying now? So yeah, nobody's forcing you to buy the new Pat McGrath palette. If you don't like that it has a lot of pink tones in it, then, you know, just don't fucking buy it. I do understand your disappointment, though, that you were ready to move on to another color story, but apparently Dame Mother is not. So for the time being, we're just going to have to suck it up and take it. And if you don't want to, then just don't put your hard-earned money into her eyeshadow palettes. Put it into something that fits your, you know, aesthetic at the moment more. I am going to buy that palette because I know from experience that it will once again be a sublime experience for me, and I will not be disappointed by it. And I think I'm starting to like loop and repeat myself now, so I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know what your thoughts are on this new release from Pat McGrath. Let's chat about it. Let's, you know, be respectful to each other's opinions. I'm allowed to have mine, you're allowed to have yours. Yes, I am very biased, and I am coming here to, you know, defend her in a way. But you know what? She's not paying me to do that. She doesn't even know I exist. So I'm truly doing it out of the goodness of my heart and out of, you know, loyalty to her that she has earned over the years. Okay, now I'm really going to shut up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!